Facebook ads won't work for musicians, and I can prove it with my usual flawless logic. Just kidding.
Yeah.
Last night, I was scrolling through YouTube looking at the most recent milieu of advice out there on Facebook ads and whether or not they work for musicians. So right off the bat, just so you know my qualifications to speak on this matter, I've been running Facebook ads for musicians for over 7 years, and that's on top of running Facebook ads for regular businesses for almost a decade. And that's not just Facebook ads, that's Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube ads. I know my way around an ad platform. On top of that, our company runs an agency where we spend over $2 million a year on Facebook ads for musicians. We also run a coaching program where we teach indie musicians how to advertise for themselves so that they have that skill forever. And just so you know my biases, we sell and produce content around social advertising for musicians in addition to tons of other digital marketing concepts. So if social advertising didn't work for musicians, it would probably be bad for me and bad for our company. So, take it with a grain of salt. But I hear a lot the argument that
Facebook ads have never blown up a musician.
And it's like, that's true. Facebook ads have never been the sole responsible quantity in a musician's entire system-wide success. But I would argue that Facebook ads, social advertising, and other ad platforms have been a major component of several artists' success. For me, there's 5 skills that can make you self-reliant as an artist that is also a small business. And most artists are small businesses. They just are in varying stages of knowing it yet. Number 1, you got to get attention. Number 2, you got to keep attention. Number 3, you have to get direct contact with fans. Number 4, you have to make offers to those fans. Number 5, you have to be able to sell. In 2017, this gentleman right here, Andy Hunter, he joined our community and he knew nothing about social advertising. He just had a band. They were playing mostly empty rooms. They hadn't released a debut album yet. Came into our community and stumbled through learning social advertising. What did he do with it? First thing he did was they had a promoter. They were able to book 10 dates in 100 cap venues. And he was like, I'm gonna sell out this tour using social advertising. It's exactly what he did. He used social advertising and following up with messenger marketing to sell out 1,000 tickets. But the promoter got 50% of the revenue. So right there, he immediately leveled up by using social advertising. He was able to sell from the platform to people who have never heard of his band before in order to generate ticket sales and fill rooms. What did he do the next year? He booked a 10-date run, self-booked. So he ditched the promoter and he called up these venues himself and he booked 10 200 cap rooms. So now he has 2,000 tickets to sell. Went from selling 1,000 tickets to selling at the worst 1,800 because he sold out 8 of those 10 dates. That's 800 more than the first time, and it was all using Facebook ads. And he got to keep 100% of the revenue this time. So big difference. So what did they do the next year? They booked 16 date runs, some 300 cap venues, sold it out using social advertising. The next year was COVID, so what they did was instead of selling touring dates, they used Facebook ads to sell, I think, 10,000 records. Then after that, they booked another 10-date tour, sold it out. Then they went to a promoter, a big industry promoter that could get them on festival stages and headline tours and as a supporting act for another headliner. So did the promoter say, okay, you've had your fun with Facebook ads, but that's not for serious musicians and, do it my way now? No. They didn't do that because this band had just self-booked and sold out 3 tours in a row. So instead, the promoter said, I don't want to change anything about what you're doing. I'm going to white label my back end for you guys. You can plug it into your branding, plug it into your marketing system. You market how you want to market, and you just send them to a page that has my back end on it. This is unheard of in the music industry. No promoter is going to take some unproven band that's unsigned and just say, yeah, do what you want. They opened for Bowling for Soup, and then they were the top billing in terms of supporting acts on a festival that included Green Day, Sum 41. And then they booked an EU tour and sold so far 3,000 out of 4,000 tickets on that European Union tour. So why would a major industry promoter who can get you on festival slots tell you, oh yeah, go ahead, use Facebook ads to sell these tours? One interesting component I'd like to share is that everyone on this bill, besides As December Falls, is probably taking home less of a percentage of their revenue than As December Falls. Are they blowing up? Maybe not. Maybe you would argue they're not blowing up because they don't have all this press and they don't have all these typical trappings of music industry success. But they know people in their genre who are blowing up, are supporting acts on headline tours, are getting all the fame and attention and the press and all that. But they're making $600 a month from their record label and they're on benefits. They're on benefits. Contrast that with, oh, I'm keeping 100% of my revenue selling out tours to people who have never heard of me before, packed rooms of new fans. It's not just that they ran a bunch of Facebook ads and they didn't know what they were doing and now, they've got some success that they can cash in for a record label deal. They've actually turned down 2 record label deals so far, and they negotiated what I would consider unheard of favorable terms with a 3rd record deal that they're considering taking. So because they had this leverage point of we can sell our own records, we can sell our own tickets because we know how to advertise and we know how to sell online, they were able to negotiate, have leverage when they came to the negotiating table with a record deal. Did Facebook ads work for these musicians? Yeah, they worked. They worked. They blew them up in terms of financial success, stability, and like a real business that they now have in control. Isn't that cool? Okay, moving on. The 502s came into our community in 2017, learned Facebook ads, other social advertising, learned how to get and keep attention, learned how to get direct contact with fans through email marketing, learned how to sell online, all in their first year. Immediately generated $2,500 in revenue, $1,300 of which was profit on their debut album for a band that no one had ever heard of, and started getting a fan base, nurtured that fan base. Got booked for a festival in Germany, went to Germany, did a European Union tour that was sort of bookmarked with fan house shows, and they broke even on a European Union tour. Their first tour ever was in a continent that they had never toured to, and they broke even. Now, I don't know if you've ever toured in the US, but you're not likely to break even on your first regional tour, much less one in the European Union when you're a US-based artist. Anyways, moving on. Got back from tour, kept on using ads and email marketing to generate fans and sell products to them to subsidize the generation of fans. So it costs money to generate fans using social advertising, generate attention, but if you can subsidize it, if you can liquidate that cost on the back end, then you're good. You can grow indefinitely. And this is what we call fan subsidized acquisition. Cut to their second album. They did another album launch campaign, which leveraged advertising, email marketing, and making offers to fans, just like I talked about. And they were able to generate 5,000 subscribers using 10,000 in ad spend and generate 10,000 in 30-day revenue. So within 30 days from launching this album, they were able to liquidate the cost of acquiring 5,000 email subscribers. Then they took everything they had learned about content from running ads, because ads are a great feedback loop to learn which content works and which does not, to take it over to TikTok, where they started taking their ad content and posting 15-second snippets of it. Went viral with a song called Magdalene and started pouring ad spend into it to blow it up. Then they went more viral with a video that I shot for them called Just a Little While, here it is, and that went dummy viral on TikTok, so they started pouring ad spend into that. They spent many Ks, many tens of Ks on advertising these 2 songs, using TikTok and Instagram Reels as the ad platforms that they were leveraging. Spotify monthly listeners grew to 2.2 million. They got around 52 million streams to date since they started, and now they're selling out tours and literally turning down record deals. They have leverage because they have these 5 crucial skills. They can grow at will, they can subsidize all of their growth, and so they're better than someone who blew up. They're actually turning down what someone who blew up just yearns for and doing ultimately very well for themselves in a situation where they 100% own their entire business. Now, any artist of a similar size already owes 95% of all of their earning potential to third parties, managers, record labels, booking agents. But any conversation they get in with an entity like that, they have all the leverage. They're doing very well for themselves, and the record label, the booking agent, the manager wants a slice of that. Not good enough for you? Okay, Richard Thompson comes into our community in 2020. Promptly, within 8 months of learning, including advertising, sells 5,000 pre-orders for his album, which was a really cool AR album. I'll put a few screenshots up here. Outsold The Weeknd, outsold Busta Rhymes to land number 5 in the UK for this album. Billboard charting using advertising, email marketing, being able to get and keep attention, get direct contact with fans, and make them offers. Not good enough? Okay, let's go into our agency accounts. We took an artist whose fame peaked in the 1970s, generated some products with them, did some product testing over a number of years, while generating them enough revenue to more than pay for our agency services while we were sort of feeling out the account, getting things set up, and just sort of scaling their revenue. Then hit it big with a product where we use Facebook ads to sell a non-digital, a physical product that was art-based and generate $2.2 million in revenue within a single year. Pretty remarkable result, made possible entirely by social advertising. Now, did this artist re-blow up? Are they now like topping Billboard again? No. Who gives a shit if they're not on the global viral charts for Spotify or being talked about by Jimmy Fallon? If they're making a piece of artwork, putting it out there to the world at scale, and generating millions of dollars. Now, to steelman anyone who would contend with me on this topic, I would say that like, if you have crap music, Facebook ads are not gonna help you. If you don't learn social advertising at like a reasonably advanced level, then it's gonna be difficult for you to get out more than you put in. A majority of artists who try to use social advertising to grow a fan base fail at it. That's entirely true. Now, to counteract that, I would say it's a problem of circumstance, because any place you look, you're gonna find 60 to 70% failure rates. Most people who try to do anything fail. That's just a fact of life. That's not a consequence of how social advertising works or whether or not it's appropriate for an artist. Now, I'd like to cap this off by saying I don't think that anyone that is out there making videos with the headline, "Facebook ads don't work for musicians," I don't think they actually believe that. I think what they're trying to say is that they see a disproportionate or a disordinate amount of people putting all this focus on learning this very technical skill, and in their opinion, it would be better suited that they focus on making great content. And I would 100% agree with that. I would say if you don't have good content, then that should be your focus right now. Good music, good videos, the ability to create something that people want to stop and watch and listen to. But once you're there, how do you grow? PR campaigns? Okay, well, if I use a PR campaign to get placed on a bunch of blogs, guess who controls all of that attention and that viewership? The blog. Social advertising is a much more controllable, direct flow. And so really there's an argument between branding and direct response marketing, and I would say they both absolutely have their place, but to argue that social advertising is useless and that artists shouldn't ever learn it is completely ignorant of the fact that in order to get to the levels of fame that these people are talking about, you would have to give up all of your leverage and most of your earning potential to third parties who don't know all about. So over half of the musicians that they're going to sign to whatever label or distribution or production deal are not going to make it. They're not actually going to spend any marketing dollars on those artists, and they're going to rely on them to do it all themselves. And if one of them pops, they benefit wildly. Those who they do throw marketing dollars at, 99% of them, it's not going to be appropriate for them, because for a startup business that needs cash flow, direct response marketing is probably the most appropriate form of marketing, not big branding plays where it's like, we're going to put out a video this week, we're going to put out a video the next week, we're going to put out a video the third week. Who gives a shit? No one watches your videos. You don't have a fan base yet. For the very, 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 very slim minority of people who not only get the marketing spend, but for whom it's appropriate because their sound and their image is so mass marketable that it just works out. They very rarely recoup all of the advance, all of the marketing expense. At the end of the day, all of that money taken from them is going to go to pay for all of the failure. And what happens to those failed acts? They get shelved. They're pretty much shunned from the industry and spat out the other end with no verifiable skills that they can actually leverage to get back up. And if they get back up and they're able to succeed, guess what? They now owe all of that success back to these third parties. And that's what we're here to solve. We're here to give artists leverage by skilling them up with basic business skills. Business skills that any startup business would need to succeed. Artists should have it too, so that they're not beholden to third parties, giving away all of their earning potential to someone who is going to do the inappropriate thing for where they are in their music career. We've seen indie market share grow to 30% from roughly 15% when we started. We want to see it go to 70%. And that's going to take learning things that every business has to learn. Can you make it organically without ever learning advertising? Sure. But like, why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you learn to be good at organic advertising, PR, all of it? Why would you leave out a major component that has been the driver of success for so many businesses just because what? You have some penchant against it? You don't like it? You don't like Mark Zuckerberg? It's actually detrimental to independent artists everywhere to drive home this narrative that like social advertising is not worth it or it's never worked for musicians. It's categorically false. And with the stories that I've just shared with you, it's tragic that someone who has good content and a good sound and a good image is going to miss out on that massive leverage opportunity that these artists got and sign a predatory deal with someone who does not have their best interests at heart.
Oh, that'll do just fine.
And no matter what they say, is willing to turn and burn that artist if the first sign they get that it's not going to work out. And I can't actually blame people who are parroting this narrative, because I don't think most of the people who are parroting that narrative, I don't think they're active in online business circles. Maybe they spent their whole life on the perimeter of the music industry or at the other end of these predatory deals, convincing themselves that signing over 90% of their artists' earning potential
Was a great idea.
I've seen artists go broke suing record labels just to get their own album back. Any attempts to make artists feel as if they're not like regular businesses and they don't need to learn business skills is just a furtherance of this preponderance of failure and anguish for a majority of all artists who ever try. I hope this video is helpful for you in your journey to understand whether or not Facebook or Instagram ads are a good idea for businesses. And if you like this video, like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video. Peace out.